Thank you, Confectionery Live, for inviting Royal Duyvis Wiener to the session of today, and thank you, audience, in joining us here today for the session on tasting ingredient trend. My name is Roy Smith. I manage the technology of this 2,000 square meter technology center, where we can try anything on processing and any ingredient we want in the business we're in. Now, before I get started, I'd like to share a few words on the company Royal Duyvis Wiener. We are the world's leading manufacturer of equipment, solutions, and cocoa, chocolate, and nuts and seeds processing. We're in the business since 1885, and we are granted with the Royal Stamp of Approval. And over those years, we've built a lot of expertise ever since, from ideation, development, and building the machines and the process lines. So we know the process from the inside out. We take great pride in our key values to endeavor and make these more than just some words on a presentation or on a slide. The online conference focuses on sustainability, which is fully in line with a #1 key value. We want future generations also to enjoy the chocolate as we do today. And of course, we have a full service promise, the 3S philosophy, where we have safe, sustainable, and 24-hour service and support. Now, before we go, this is now time to talk about the main topic of the session of today. I'm going to introduce you to the trend and ingredients we see passing by here in our technology center. From our perspective, we can support you in processing existing and new ingredients to meet customers' demand of today. On a macro level, we see all similar changes. We see a growing population where health and wealth are the topics of discussion, where climate change forces us to think about energy use, about sustainability in a situation where there is less land and more demand. And nowadays, with inflation, rising food prices, those are on top of consumers' minds. All this is a fast-moving market. It makes it a fast-moving market. It's always moving, it's always dynamic, flavors change ever, driven by millennials and Gen Z generation. Consumption is moving from individual to sharing. Nowadays, I can share a car with somebody. We move from industrial society to a creative society. In an industrial society where everything is the same, everybody will have a white shirt. Now I can have a shirt with any print I want on it, which is more a creative society. This is all changing. Today, we are in a market where it's more about concept. It's about the storytelling. I want to make my chocolate with cocoa beans I bring by sailboat from Central America to the Amsterdam harbor and process those special beans into my special chocolate. This is the story I tell. This is very important. It also makes product life cycles very short. Fast-moving market means that consumers change their behavior almost every day. Short product life cycles, and with today's technology, the fast-moving consumer goods will move even faster. Whatever the trend is, whatever will happen, consumers will not compromise on flavor, on color, on quality, on experience. And this means that your R&D people, they need to keep up. And more today, we see that the knowledge and expertise of this will bring you the value you want. Now, the trends we will be looking at in this session, I just picked out a few. It's about healthy food, it's about food adventuring, the wow factor, food transparency, conscious consumption is in there, and a few words on craftsmanship. I know there are more, but these are the ones I picked out and have some examples here from the pilot plant. First is healthy food. Consumers care more and more about their health. They look for reduction in sugar and fat already for a long time, but more and more they will look for ingredients that will add a certain health benefit. And luckily for us, we are in cocoa and chocolate, because many studies about cocoa and chocolate shows there is a high antioxidant level in cocoa, It's good for your heart health life. You get a good mood food from it, and it even reduces the risk of certain cancers. So it makes sense in this trend that we see that the dark chocolate is rising. Higher cocoa content in the chocolate will give you a more healthier chocolate bar. With increasing the amount of cocoa in your chocolate, it also means that the flavor impact coming from this cocoa is much bigger compared to others. And there's less sugar to cover all this bitterness and acidity. Now, how can we help you there? For example, we can help you with changing the cocoa process parameters. We can adjust the roast settings. We can even discuss or show you what the impact is of changing from batch roasting to bean roasting. All it will make a smoother cocoa mass, and this smoother cocoa mass you can then add in higher percentages into your dark chocolate. And also with making the cocoa mass smoother, the temperatures are lower, and likely the new natural, the antioxidants will remain a bit higher in there as well. So this will make you a more healthier chocolate bar versus other ones. Another example where we can support is with adding fibers and protein, for example. We worked here with inulin, wheat dextrin, corn fibers, and we add those to the chocolate recipes. Now the thing is, when we do process those fibers, most of them are temperature sensitive. So it brings us to the guarantee in ball milling that we can say don't increase the temperature more than 55 degrees Celsius, because otherwise you get clocking and you get crystals in your chocolate, which you do not want. Now, if you recognize this and you find this challenging, those temperatures with the ingredients, we might have an answer. Contact us and ask us about the Chocoline principle. This is where we do quenching first and refining after. And quenching is the same settings with the same temperatures. You can even go up to 70 or 80 degrees Celsius for your quenching. If you have some clogs or crystals occurring during quenching, you will refine it in the refining stage afterwards, after the quenching. And the most important, there's no impact on your flavor or sensory profile. So this is an example where we can make our chocolate healthier by adding fibers without compromising on taste and with the same product quality in terms of fineness. Some sugar replacers can be healthier. Of course, if you take the sugar out and you replace it with, let's say, maltodextrin, this can be a problem in processing. The grinding takes a bit more time. But we've seen others here, erythritol, allulose, stevia, for example, and they have a little bit less of a problem in processing this into the chocolate. And the one I really like is we did some trials with dates. So we had some dried dates, we ground them to a fine powder. The fine powder was added to the chocolate as a sweetener and as a fiber addition. So there was no added sugar. The sweetness comes from the dates, and there was a chunk of fibers in there from the natural dates in the chocolate as well. So again, an example of how you can make healthier chocolate. The next one is about food adventuring, the wow factor. Consumers nowadays, they want anything but boring. The wow factor, they want to combine flavors, explore cuisines, they go through cultures and combine everything. This is driven by the new generations. The mainstream is a dead-end road. We don't want to have anything mainstream. We want to do food pairing and get the answers from all those combinations out of there. We see two streams in there, which can be a rebellion style or a disruptive style. Rebellion, you get creative and you get surprisingly good flavor combinations. When you talk to disruptive, where you have combinations to shock. So a disruptive example is you drink a fine champagne and you eat a hot dog from the food stand outside along with it. But you can also think about a chocolate macaroon with pig's blood or a chocolate covered ant, for example. On the rebellion style, the attractive, creative combinations, this is where you can think about the chocolate with caramel salt addition to it. This is already mainstream, I think, but a few years ago, this was really new. But you can also combine it with herbs and spices. It can be really surprisingly good. Now, how can we help you here? Some examples we did is we processed peanuts, we combined it with cotton candy. We had popcorn drizzled with a truffle compound. And we developed a chocolate recipe to align flavor and rheology-wise with the bacon inclusions inside the chocolate. And this is all showing you that people are looking for this wow factor. Another one to talk about is food transparency, conscious consumption. Consumers want transparent and consumption is much more conscious. This is about sustainability, about clean label. We want to know where the chocolate comes from, where the beans come from, and we want to know what we bring into our body. We are looking for trust in the food processing area. Remember the salmonella was a big topic a while ago. And this is not helping the trust in how we process our foods. So people want to have it transparent, a clean label, not a lot of ingredients. And if you do not have a lot of ingredients, you still want to make the same flavor and the same quality. You need to rely on the processing. And then we have, of course, in this as well, the free from. So free from milk components, for example. Make a milk chocolate without any milk derivatives in there. And this is already here for a while, and it's still active, I think, the plant-based or vegan chocolate. And we still see new ingredients popping up. We tried here a few chocolates where we used milk replacers, and we based those chocolates on plant powders. Here it's good to know that it will have an impact on the rheology. It for sure will have an impact on the flavor and a little bit on the processing. So bear in mind, if you replace your milk powder with other ingredients, with milk replacers, it will have an impact. How can we help you? Well, of course, we tried here with coconut milk powder, rice milk powder, oat powder, for example. But also we have a light roast cashew, for example. So a light roast cashew powder, a nut flour, defatted, to replace the milk in a white chocolate. The cashew nut makes it really light, capable of adding it to the white chocolate and keeping it a white chocolate. And while you're here to change these kind of recipes, also ask about our engineers. They can help you with, they can show you with projects where we did energy saving projects on a massive scale. Craftsmanship. This is, I think, something that COVID brought back a little bit. We were at home cooking our own dinners again, more and more making food ourselves. We also see increased food blogs on the social media, where everybody is encouraged to do it yourself, to be creative. In all, keep it simple, know what you're doing, and take your time. This will all fit in here. So let's roast your special selected beans and find out the right roast for your chocolate. We can explain the buttons to push, the settings for the cones to make your chocolate with the best flavor development. Get your machines with our product. An example is we had two chocolatiers here. They had the same cocoa beans, they had the same amount of sugar to the recipe. One of them, he likes really a fruity kind of chocolate, and the other one likes a really strong kind of chocolate. Well, the first one made his roasting really mild for a short time. The same for the conching, was a relatively short conching time with mild temperatures, and it gave him this chocolate which was really fruity in flavor. The next month, the other guy came, and he likes his chocolate really strong. So he took the same beans, the same amount of sugar in the final recipe, but the beans were roasted at higher temperatures for a long time, getting rid of all those volatiles and acids. The same for the conching, so for a long time with higher temperatures. And this chocolate was much more on the cocoa note, much more stronger. It shows you that craftsmanship can direct your flavor into a certain direction. And this is something we can check here. We did it here. So those were the 4 trends I looked at. Of course, there are more, but feel free to get in contact with us. But finally, before I go, I'd like to also show you a little bit that what we expect into the future is this food tech boom coming up. Driven by the global consciousness, climate change, technology becomes more and more important than ever. From the agribusiness, where you see vertical farming and drones checking on complete fields, through processing into a final product. We will rely more and more on process and food technology to go hand in hand and meet and keep up with the trends. I talked already about smart sensors and remote startup. This is here to say, for sure. I think for the Internet of Things, the IoT and the dark factories, without any human interaction, this is still far away. AI will be coming closer in the coming years. AI will change the food landscape, changing the way we consume perhaps, but chocolate is so unique, this will remain here for a long time, even after the AI. Now, almost at the end, we set up a few courses to support our customers. On the topic of today, we organized in October a Taste the Ingredient Trend course. This is a hands-on training where we have the existing and the new ingredients linked together. We'll discuss, we'll compare, we'll develop, we experience all the impact of these ingredients in our products. And then we go. If you go to the website, contact us, see if we can come together, and then together we can taste the ingredient trend. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Roy, for delivering this session here at Confectionery Live. A really interesting session too. Yeah. What made you want to talk about this topic in particular?
Ingredients are always, I've told you about the fast-moving market, ever-changing flavors. Ingredients is the key in the products we have. So if you have the right equipment, if you have the right recipe, you can make really beautiful products. And ingredients, they change all the time. And as a food technologist, my passion is about this ever-changing things. What works, what is not working, what combinations do we like? And if it's not working, why is it not working? Can we improve it? And then ingredients is key to this.
So really looking to address all of this innovation coming up and looking how you can support your customers with that. When you said chocolate covered ants, I went, really?
Yeah.
I suppose, if it exists, then
it exists.
To meet a demand.
Yeah.
Have you noticed any trends which you think will be lasting and will actually become permanent and will stick around?
We've seen the vegan is now really hot. There's the plant-based. I think whole fruit chocolate is also there. It will remain for a long while. I think we will see a lot of the vegan still coming up. We're trying all kinds of ingredients to still make those indulgent products. Where you say, for example, if you look back a little bit, a few years ago, raw chocolate was there. And I think in chocolate, this raw doesn't really work that well because you need temperature to develop the flavor. And if you do not have this temperature, you not fully develop the flavor. And I think consumers still want to be indulged. They still want to have this nice chocolate flavor. So you will see that raw remains, I think, a little bit on the niche side. But with vegan, we have seen now certain options which are really, really good in indulgent flavor. it's not a milky flavor, but if you have a coconut milk powder and you want to have this coconut flavor to your chocolate, it's really good. So I think this will go on for the coming years to explore much more ingredients to make this to drive this plant-based trend.
You said in your presentation that chocolate will continue to be around for many years to come because it's so beloved. So I think that was a really poignant point. Just addressing the elephant in the room, could you please talk a little bit about the Technology Centre which you're standing in and its history for those who might not be so familiar?
Well, Royal Duyvis Wiener is in its origin a machine manufacturer. And building a machine is one thing, but consumers, they are more interested in what comes out of this machine. And to understand what comes out of the machine, you need food technologists. You want to try. You want to see what's happening if you increase the temperature, if you reduce the speed of a shaft at some point. What will happen then? Is the product coming out still meeting the customer's demand? And that's why we built this technology center to support our customers, to bring them in on a small scale. They can roast cocoa, they can make chocolate on a small scale and try things. Because then you know what happens. If we have a cocoa roaster, and I can tell you, we can bring this cocoa roaster from 100 degrees to 300 degrees, both temperatures will not get a product out of what the customer wants. So a customer wants a level here at 120, 130 degrees Celsius for a long time or a short time. And another customer wants it a little bit higher. So each customer is playing within this range. And this is where technology steps in. This is what we can show here. Customers like it because if we take an industrial roaster, it will take 5,000 kilos of nips. Here with me, it's only 50 kilograms of nips. So if you test, of course, sometimes you do an over roast. You will look for the limits, you will over roast, and then you only destroy 50 kilograms instead of 5,000 kilograms. Now, this is a big advantage. And also what I really like about this facility is that it is so much more efficient for customers because we are in the business of flavor. We will talk about flavor. And to understand what customers want, I need to talk with the customer and understanding what he means with a cocoa flavor or a chocolate flavor. And if you do it here, we have a test. We have the sample coming out, we taste it, and then immediately I have the feedback from the customer. Instead of sending samples, wait for an answer, discuss over the email, make a phone call, make another trial, send another sample. This will take weeks, months even. And when they are here for 1 week, they go home with an answer which is already really on target. So that's why I like this so much.
I agree. I think nothing beats seeing it and tasting it. So it's fantastic that you're able to offer that kind of support. In your presentation, you spoke in some depth, which I thought was really interesting, about different sugars, different fibers. Of course, when we talk about the vegan trend, there are certain ingredients you can't include. What would your advice be to companies who are interested in incorporating alternative ingredients into their production? Do you have any main takeaways based on what you found at your technology center?
For those milk replacers, just contact us because there are so many on the market and still coming up on the market. And some companies, they want to replace the milk component, but still want to have it creamy. And there is so much going on at the moment in this market. So we need to understand what this customer really wants. And some customers, they say, I don't mind if it's a completely different flavor profile. Some wants it to be really close to the chocolate flavor. We can discuss this and on an industrial level. So from here, we can scale it up. So if we know, for example, this ingredient has a certain amount of energy to be grinded, we can calculate this, what will happen in the big machine, and then we come up with a capacity number, which can be, I don't know, 800 kilo per hour if this is the case. But this is based on what we trialed here. This is not just a number we think it will work. No, we trialed it here. We know from an energy point of view what's needed, and this is what we're going to calculate into the big machine.
That's fantastic. I'm sure some people will be interested to hear about what it is you can do. Just finally, what products do you have on offer here at Confectionery Live? What can people expect to see at your exhibitor booth?
We have the new 5-roll refiner, and we have the Shock 500. So the Shock 500 is a standalone small machine, really flexible, making compounds and chocolates to whatever recipe. And the new 5-roll refiner, well, you just come and see it, because there's so much to tell about this one I cannot do this in just 1 minute. It's from the outside it looks the same, but on the inside there is so much improved. So come over and visit us.
Thank you so much, Roy, for taking the time to speak with me. As mentioned, those products will be available to view over at Royal Duyvis Wiener's exhibitor booth, so please check them out. And if you have any queries, please do reach out.
Thank you very much.